Hello everyone. It's Monday, and one more time, we are here with Leo. How are you doing, Leo?
I'm good.
You're
So it's
good.
Monday. So it's
It's
live day.
Monday, live day. Yes, this would be maybe this will become a tradition for us in the next weeks and months and years. But for you that is here for the first time, we started this live stream around 2 weeks ago, and in the first 2 months, we started building a chat app from scratch using Meteor.js, React, TypeScript, MongoDB, and we advanced pretty quick into live streams, I guess. And we started receiving requests from people from the community asking for us to show how to start contributing to Meteor.js, and also a little bit of a deep dive inside the Meteor core internals to explain how it works and so on. And the idea here today is to start this live by showing you that want to contribute how to get started, and then we will do this deep dive session explaining a little bit of the behind the scenes of the framework. Probably we're not going to be able to dive too deep today, but next week there's a live again, and we will continue what we start today, right? Am
Yep.
I right? Yep.
Yep.
So I'm seeing that we already have some people in the chat here with us. Hello, everyone. Say hi. Where are you from? Where are you watching us from? We have a weekend team from Finland. Oh, I miss Finland, especially Finnish coffee. I bought a lot of coffee last year there, and I brought like 5 kilograms of coffee in my baggage when I came back to Brazil. So, Leo, to get started contributing to Meteor, what does one needs to do in the first place?
Well, let me share my screen.
Please share your screen with us.
So the first thing is to access our repository on GitHub. Here
Okay.
you'll find basically all the main information that you need to contribute. There are
Mhm.
lots of things to read here, documentation, and as you can see here, I created this small uh, diagram.
Mhm.
So the main document that you need to read is this contributing.md. So here
Okay.
you get some information about the philosophy and the things that you can do to contribute, from triaging the bugs and the issues to setting up the code and etc.
Mhm.
So here you can have a good read about what Meteor is about. So in essence, there is issue triage and development. So this is the main two ways you have to contribute to the Meteor core. Contributing is like essential for a thriving community, right? So
Yeah.
uh, there are companies that contribute and kind of help further their own agendas and whatnot. An issue you are facing, you can consider writing a pull request to fix it and basically help. There are issues that are simple that can help you get started as well. They are kind of tagged as good first issues. This very simple tag. And that's basically it. To start working with Meteor, the repository, you need to fork it in your own account in GitHub and clone it, basically. That's all the main two things
Okay.
that you need to do.
Okay.
So,
Let me
yeah,
just say hi to Jan Dvorak, our friend storyteller is here. How are you doing, man? I'm going to tell you a spoiler. We are releasing your interview today or tomorrow. We're going to figure this out yet, but it's edited. It's beautiful. You're gonna love it here in the YouTube channel of Meteor Software. So carry on.
amazing. So yeah, you need to fork it first. People that are in the core team don't need to do that because they already are on the team and they can use the main organization. But
Mm,
here you can just click fork and you can choose where you can fork it. I already have it,
Okay.
so it will not work for me. But
Okay.
once you do, I can go here. Let me find Meteor, and you can just clone it like this.
Okay. Copy and clone it in your repo. So you forked it, you create a fork, and now you're cloning the fork to your
Yeah,
machine.
yeah.
Okay.
So I can go full stories Meteor test. So I can git clone and uh,
Cloning. Your terminal is beautiful. I already asked this before, but what is that you're using?
I think it's warp.
Oh, it's Warp. Yeah, yeah. The name is
Yeah,
on the upper
yeah.
side.
Then there's some you can configure it however you like here, like this.
Mm.
Multiple
Yeah.
teams.
Wow. Cool.
So yeah, I've cloned it, but I would use another one that I already have set up. But mainly because I forked this long ago, it will be probably on an old branch and we'll waste time just configuring it. But
Okay.
I can go to Meteor. Let me see what I have here. Meteor,
Okay.
Meteor. So this is uh, the repository for Meteor. You can see here that Git is already loaded into the context of the terminal.
Okay.
So I can Git check out the val. This is like the main branch we use for development, but you can also use the specific release we are working at a given time. So it could be Git checkout release 3.0.3. But if you are going to contribute when we are going to merge the PR, we take care of that. So there's no need
Okay.
to worry. So yeah, one key thing you need to understand is that after cloning, we
Mm.
can use that code of Meteor to run projects locally. So what we are doing is called running from a checkout, basically.
Mm.
So you're running Meteor from a checkout, and for that, you need to kind of know where the script is. So you can see
Mm.
here, this is the path of the repository, and we have a script called Meteor inside it. So you can kind of just run this, and you'll see that there is a script at that location.
Okay. So what you mean is that when you download Meteor, normally we should say like you have a version of Meteor that is specifically to. I would say, what's the difference of? I think that's a good question. Actually, let me go back instead of trying to explain. I'm gonna ask you,
Sure.
and then you explain me. And what's the difference between downloading Meteor via the normal way and running my code with it, and downloading the source code as you did and running my code with it? Like what's the difference of this two versions that you download?
So the released version is kind of fixed and frozen in time. You can change it easily.
Mm,
Uh, Running from the checkout allows you to add logs and change the code in
mm,
flight. So you can kind of contribute both to the framework and your app at the same time. So if there is an issue going on and you are investigating it, it's good to go run the checkout, and so you can kind of debug things basically.
mm,
So the one of the main differences is that it can have more up to date features as well, because it will be a more updated version from GitHub directly. So
mm.
there might be some pull requests that have already been merged there. So, and it's more experimental. It's not supposed to be run in production, for example. I've seen
Mm.
companies that kind of run a fork with their own specific changes, so that's doable as well. But you need to do it with, with good thought, with good planning. Anyways,
Cool. Just want to say hi to Nacho that is here with us too again, and send the
hello.
man one more time from Cape Town. Cape Town is a city that I'm looking forward to know. I have this vloggers I follow, and they are in Cape Town, and they are there, and I think it's really beautiful, really nice city to go. I really want to go there. So anyway, come back. So what do we do now, Leo?
So I will give a small tour of the code, but first I will need to we need to run some commands.
Okay.
So this script that I just output the content here is the main way that we are going to interact with Meteor locally. So we need to kind of get the code ready, or the Meteor tool set up and things like that. There's a bundle that is either generated or downloaded for development. So running this command, we kind of set it up. The output might be different if you're running from scratch, because here I already done this, but this is the command that you need to use. So all the commands that you have on the normal Meteor command is available here, basically. There are very few differences where it has a different behavior, because some things will not work, basically, because they're local, right? It doesn't make sense. But other than that, it's everything the same.
I see.
So it should take a little while to get it ready.
Okay.
In the meanwhile, we can go to so the Meteor demos, I think. Yeah, WebStorm live. So I'll open the project for the live that we had, and now also for Meteor.
Okay. So
It's finishing.
what is this get ready command does?
So it prepares all the packages, so you can run the command well. It basically makes sure the npm dependencies are there and things like that. It will prepare the code base to be run.
Downloading
So
dependencies and so on.
yeah. So give a short tour for the repository.
Please.
So close all of this. So as you can see here, we have this document structure.
Okay.
The README that you see on GitHub is here somewhere. I'm blind. Here. So this is the file that you see when you open GitHub.
Can you
And
increase the
then,
font just a little bit?
yeah. Is this enough?
I think so.
So here is the README. It will point you to other documents and other resources. There's the documentation. Then the main one for contributions is this one, contributing.md. Then it points to development, issue triage, and this one is very important too, code of conduct. This is where you kind of give some directions about behavior and things like that, and the right way to do things.
Okay.
And yeah, so here a Meteor is basically a set of packages that work very well together, and this is what we call the core packages. So
Okay.
when you read something on the forum saying we should bring X package to the core, it would be mean basically copying the package code and pasting it here and making it play well with the core code, basically.
Okay.
So everything is in this folder here, packages.
And there
And
we have specific code for Meteor, but we also have dependency code. Like I'm seeing Babel, and I'm seeing other things that
yeah,
are okay.
some of these are already included in your raw Meteor application by default, and others you need to explicitly include. So, for example, accounts password. That's one package that you add on top of accounts base. So this is accounts base is already included, but would have to explicitly remove it to not include it, and accounts password something that you add on top of it. So these are like the ones that we kind of are responsible for managing as the core team. And the others that are kind of outside this repository are the packages that are published on Atmosphere that are only accessible through there, and the community takes care, basically.
Mm.
So the main things are here, basically. Everything that helps the framework work as as I don't know, as a package is included here.
A lot of
So
things, right?
yeah, there's lots of packages here. So that's a ton of complexity. It's not. I don't know if it's more than a million lines of code. Probably more, way more than a million lines of code. So it's lots of complexity. And outside this folder is code for the tool. So Meteor, the tool that you use to run Meteor is an app, let's say, a Node.js app, and it's built on this, basically on this folder here, tools. So we have the CLI and some other code, supporting code that makes it run. So every time we make a new release, we need to bundle this code and upload it to a repository so it can be downloaded and installed. So that's basically what a release is. And also we go through each package and publish it on Atmosphere.
Mm. What is Atmosphere for those that don't know?
Atmosphere is like our own package management directory, because Meteor has its own package format. So there you can do things that are integrated with Meteor more easily and with more power than you could through NPM, for example. Uh, so in the future, we can kind of expand that functionality and perhaps even migrate from this package system. It's something that we are considering, but for now, that's where the main package apps packages are located, where you can find them more easily. So yeah. So other than the code, we have some scripts here that are kind of used for the maintenance of the repository itself and CI and things like that. And also we have code for docs and the guides. So even if you don't like contributing with code, perhaps you just want to get started, contributing to the docs is a good way to start. So you can correct typos, you can add new sections. That's something that you can start doing as well.
Yeah,
And yeah,
I think that's a good point of start for people that are, as you said, trying to contribute more and be more involved. You don't need to necessarily start this by doing this big new feature or fixing
yeah,
a very hard chase bug. You can start by fixing typos and improving the docs, which is something that we really need, by the way. It's very important for an open source project.
yeah. If you are very keen on technical writing, by all means, right? So here I'll show this file here that contains some frequently used commands. So I packaged them in this short commands that you can use from terminal, basically. So if you're on a Unix system, you can basically run source.nvrc, and now you have access to these commands. So before we copied this path here, right? So this path here is supposed to be absolutely locate your script from the checkout. This you can use everywhere else. So if you have a local project that you want to run on Meteor checkout, you run through this path. But locally, you can either run. Sorry, lost my keyboard. It's too big for me. Meteor. Okay, so you can do a relative uh, uh, notation here and use the script through the dot slash meteor and run the uh, help, for example. And there it will show the normal help command, right?
Okay.
So the problem is if you go to another folder, the docs, and you do meteor help, you don't find it easily. You need to do something like
Mm,
this:
you
meteor
have
dot.
to
Yeah,
specify the path.
exactly. Or you can use the commands that I just showed and do it like this, and now it will work, right? So these two ways will work. If you are inside the nested folder, you need to use the relative notation or the absolute one, or run through this. So this is easier to remember. And here you find these commands here, like test packages, where you can run the test suite for each of the packages in the core. And also you have one other testing facility, I don't know how to call it, but the test itself, which are a suite of tests that test the Meteor tool itself, and it will kind of create apps and do all kinds of magics inside to kind of test the tool itself. So
Makes sense.
this is more like in the sense of an end-to-end or integration test, and
Mm.
this one is like a unitary test for each package.
Okay, let me just say hi to Deng Gel from Malta. I think we haven't had a person from Malta here yet, not at least someone that thought they were from Malta. Hello, there's another place I would like to know, hopefully, in the future.
So yeah, and one thing that I forgot is that once we clone the repo, let me go to the root of directory here. If you don't pass like git clone recursive, or is this recursive? I think it's something like that. But if you don't do that, you need to run this command here. So it initializes all of the submodules because we have like Blaze and some other things that are just a reference to another repository and they are kind of nested inside Meteor. So this command needs to kind of reinitialize them to the specific reference that they are on.
Hmm.
So in one alternative to do this command by head is to just run. My keyboard stopped working. Here. In each submodule, this is an alternative. So we do run source and RC, then in each submodule, and it will handle it for you. And then we have some for the docs and the migration guide as well. So you can just explore this document here. Even if you're not going to run these commands, just to see a reference of them here will kind of show how things work.
Okay.
So .mrc. Uh, yeah. So now we
Dengel,
can run the app.
just reading a comment here. Dengel said that he or she, I don't know, is actually from Tauri. I don't think I know Tauri. I'm not sure I know. Do you know Tauri, Leo?
Is it a framework or a component library?
Uh,
Let me
I
see. Tauri.
I I don't think it's a there's this tool called Tauri. Is that what you're talking about, or is the place that you were born? I'm not sure if you're talking about work or your life.
I think it's the
And
tool. I think it's Tauri for the tool. The
yeah,
slogan says build an optimized, secure, and front-end independent application for multi-platform deployment.
yeah. So Jan Vorak saying that we are slowly getting Gabs traveling lists over the course of all these events. Yeah, man. I mean, there's. I think I know like I want to know a lot of places, so the list is long. And yeah, the Joe's confirming that it's from the open source community. Yeah, so yeah, he's talking about the
Awesome.
project. Cool, man. Pretty cool.
Cool.
So let's run.
Yeah,
You said.
yeah. Let's run the app
Let's
using
do it.
uh, the
Okay, which
checkout.
app
So
are you running?
this is from the chat app.
Ah, okay.
So
So we are going to
so
run the chat app that we built in the past 2 weeks using our own Meteor source code that we just downloaded and yeah.
yeah. So we need to do the absolute path here.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will not find it. There is one other way to do this. If you create a shell function in your environment, you can create an alias for this, and that can be used as well. So here we can run the same command from before, get ready,
Hmm.
and it should work.
It will work. Jan said Tauri is also the name of Earth in Stargate SG-1. I never watched Stargate, but I heard good things from it.
Yeah.
And Fred told that we just had a meeting with guys from Tauri. We are talking to them about doing something together, apparently, and I didn't know. So cool.
Oh wow. Oh, welcome. Welcome to the
Welcome.
stream.
Yeah. So you're a Stargate fan? Or no?
Sorry.
I asked if you are a Stargate fan. If you ever
Oh
watched it.
yeah, I watched some of the movies and some of the series. I think
Mm,
the one that I liked the most was Stargate Atlantis,
mm,
where it was the longest running, perhaps not the longest running, but the most recent, perhaps.
mm.
Uh, well, I like it.
Well,
I like the concept of traveling quickly through planets.
hmm. Well, I haven't, but I watched Star Wars. It's like the same thing, right? I'm joking. I'm joking. Stargate nerds. I'm joking. I'm joking. Or not.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, Stargate seems to be uh, in the future, perhaps more like portals.
yeah.
Star Wars is like more spaceships.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stargate Atlas.
Well, since I never watched Stargate, I wouldn't know, but I think that, well, I'm not going to start talking about Star Wars here. Uh, so it's
yeah,
running.
I yeah, it's running. It's running. So we have the chat. It works.
It works. It works. Cool. So
And yeah, cool.
no, I
Go
was
ahead.
just gonna say that we are running our app using the source code of our app, and this reminds me the time when I used to be a C sharp developer for .NET platform, and in 2014, when Microsoft open source .NET Core, I was like, I have to get into this, and I remember that the first time that I downloaded the virtual machine, the .NET virtual machine to my machine, and I compiled my virtual machine and then run my C sharp code using my virtual machine and then read the docs explaining how it worked. My mind like exploded. It was really cool to understand what was going on. So even if you're not going to, if you don't have plans to start being a contributor, like a regular contributor to Meteor or any other open source app, just downloading it, reading the docs, and understanding what is going on behind the scene, it's like can make you feel like you have superpowers. So I really advise you doing that if you haven't.
Uh, so yeah, here it's running, and I'll give a brief overview of what is happening behind the scenes. I'll show it through Meteor Dev Tools Evolved, which is dev tools that you can install from the Chrome store. And
Mhm.
also, I will try to get a log inside Meteor itself to log to the console when we are communicating with the server. That's
Hmm.
something that we can try as well. So
Okay.
first, we can open the console. If you have the Meteor Dev tools installed, it will show this. But if you can just search Google Meteor Dev tools evolved, and this will give you an overview of what's happening in your client. So if you
Mhm.
have publications, methods, those communicate through DDP, and we intercept those messages and tell you this is what is happening. So it's very useful for security to understand what's available for the browser when you are developing. So here, I'm not sure if it's visible. Uh, can you see it? Or is it too small? I
Um,
don't.
I
I'm not
think if
sure if I
you,
can increase it. I don't
uh,
think there is a zoom. But
if,
anyways,
if you press Control Command Plus,
no.
no. Okay, so yeah, okay, we'll have to go with that.
I think it works for only for the client, not for the
Yeah.
dev tool.
Yeah.
So yeah. So here on the first tab we have DDP. This is where you see all the messages that go through the DDP protocol for app. It would be similar to what you have if you go to the network tab and check for AWS. There you can see the connection uh, between your browser and the WebSocket driver in the Node.js app that Meteor is, basically. So as you can see here, if we send a message, it will be visible here. It's on this one, like socket.js one. So you can see that all the messages are listed here,
Mm.
and you can see that we added a new message. We call the method with the parameters content. And if you go to here, you see basically the same thing. You can filter it here through for methods, collection, subscription. We can just show methods, and we have the method called for shot insert. So it basically calls the method, sends some data here with the content and the name of the user, like we set up before, and then it inserts, uh, and then it propagates to the client. And once it propagates to the client, we receive some messages here, adding the document to Minimongo, for example, and you can see exactly what data is added to Minimongo via this Minimongo tab, where you can see all the documents, and you can also filter for a specific document by just using search, and also you can choose which collection you want. And also we have the subscription tab where you can see the performance of your subscriptions. So let's say you have a very complex query and it's taking too long, and you wonder how long it's it really taking. You can go here and check the duration tab of
Mm.
this table, and it will show you how long it took for the subscription to become ready. So if you have too many documents, it will take longer. I've seen some apps that take 5 seconds or things like that. So by that time, you want to optimize it. So this is a good way to debug it, and you know exactly how much you optimized.
Mm.
And also there's this performance tab, which is for the client side, and also there's queries that run in your app. Like here we are getting all the documents and sorting by created at, and here it lists how long it takes and also how many calls it's made. So if you want to optimize the front end, you can check the performance tab as well.
Okay, so um, for people that are used to work with HTTP, the anatomy of an HTTP request and response is like a head that has a verb and some arguments, and then the body with the content of the request. And the same thing for response. Obviously, I'm simplifying because there's lots of other things there, but there's a head, then a body. And how is the anatomy of a DDP request? How is it changed? Because you showed me just the JSON, the data that is going through this
Yep.
DDP connection, but can we actually see like the full request as it compared to the HTTP or something? Like,
So this is the full request basically. So
mm,
DDP is basically communication, two-way communication between the client and the server.
mm,
So here the payload follows a convention. So It needs to have this MSG field denoting what the message is, and things like that. There is a specification for DDP, the DTP protocol. So what this is basically RPC, remote procedure call, that you implement via browser.
Mm.
So here it's just a JSON. There's no headers. Uh, there are HTTP communication going on behind the scenes once you establish the WebSocket connection, and also the driver might revert to polling and things like that to kind of maintain it working. It might not necessarily be always WebSocket, but it will try to simulate two-way communication. So
Mm.
the way this happens is it just sends a message to the server saying, I'm calling this method with these parameters, and then the server responds to via the same connection or virtual connection if it's a polling, and it will reply with the result and or the ID of the method if there is no result whatsoever.
Okay.
So
And how I don't know if I'm going too far here, but this open the request again that you just showed, the one
this
that
one.
is okay, this one. Okay, so there we have the message, there we have the method that we're going to be called on the server side. And what is the I'm going to use object in lack of a better word, but what is the what once this data arrives there, who handles it? Like, what is the code that will get
So
this we're sending this?
there's this package. Let me go back to Meteor called DDP,
Hmm.
very aptly named, which
Okay.
is responsible for the connectivity between the client and the server.
Mm.
So I've never kind of worked too much on it, but here will be like the code uh, for the connection, like
Mhm.
sock.js and things like
Mm.
that, and
Mm.
also what when you kind of open like Meteor connection, this connection object is comes from there basically. So
Mm.
there, that's what is going on behind the scenes. It's this
Mm.
code here, like DDP hyphen something. So these
Mm.
are kind of all related. Perhaps DDP includes all of them. Let me see. Yeah, it's kind of encapsulated into
Mm.
the DDP package.
Mm. I see.
So yeah,
Okay,
there's
DP
some
handles
code
it.
that is common between both of them, like the client and the server, but there are
Mhm.
code that is specific. So that's why it has this architecture. So it separates them well. Uh,
Mhm. I see.
so we can move on to the next thing. Now that we touched this, we can try to find where we can intercept a message or
Yeah,
something
let's
of the
do it.
sort. So we have method invocation. I've never done this before, right? So
Okay, so
the
it's
only
probably not going to work. Okay,
probably not going to
lower
work. Yeah.
your expectations.
Yeah, I only intercepted this through patching the object directly in the browser when I built the Meteor DevTools. So that's
Okay.
the only place. So I'm not sure where, but we can kind of experiment. So we got this like method invocation. The name is already very telling for us, like what it does. So we can kind of try to play with it and see what we can accomplish. So this method invocation will be called somewhere. Perhaps there is a new. No, there is no new. No, yeah. So live data connection. So here you can see that we have this invocation object here that creates when we have a stub call. So it's probably going to be on the client, and we can just add a console log invocation here just to see what it is about. And by doing that, it started rebuilding the application. So it's going to update the code, uh, and I don't think we need to update, but test. you can see that it created the invocation object, and we logged it on the console. So this code here is already taken into effect. You can see that it logged 2 invocation objects, and the first one is for the method that we call. So it runs in a stub in the client, right? So you can see that we already got some feedback from the code by just altering. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. What else? Let's see. So you can modify the code as you like here. You can go to each package and kind of play with it and see what happens. If you are research on investigating an issue, you basically do the same thing. Just play with the code and try to reproduce the issue and things like that. So here,
Mm-hmm.
like you have an immediate feedback through what you are doing. So
Mm-hmm.
one other thing that we can try to do is we have this stub call, and there's this apply, and we can like, I think it goes through here, but this is probably not going to work. But let's see. It's rebuilding the code again. It detects that we changed the code to the Meteor repo, and it will rebuild our application.
Mm-hmm.
So we clean the console, hi, and it doesn't log because I got the wrong method. So it's and probably going to be another one. So we go back through to the stub call and check the second one, apply a sync stub invocation, and we try again. So this is basically debugging, right? Trial and
Yeah.
error. Sometimes it will not work, and that's normal. Um,
Is there a way of using uh, breakpoints, like debugging using breakpoints?
well, I've never tried it in the Meteor Hippo directly, but
Mm.
you could use something like this. You can Meteor run inspect,
Mm.
and you probably have to connect your IDE to the inspect instance.
Mm.
So I'm not sure how to do it here. That's something perhaps for another call, but for another
Okay.
live.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But for your main app, you can do the same thing. You just we can kind of go here to the open dedicated dev tools for Node, and you can see that it's already listening. There is a connection here, so it will show the source and whatnot. There is a memory. You can take memory profiles here, so you can like take a snapshot,
Mm.
and it will take a snapshot of the memory of your application, but just by
Mm.
using hyphen hyphen inspect.
Mm.
So this is how I mainly debug an application. I do not even connect to my IDE. I use this directly. So and
Mm.
also there's CPU profile where you can just do things here, and we open DevTools again, stop, and it will show
Mm.
the profile.
Mm. And who
So
did
it's
this
fine.
tool?
Sorry?
This dev tools, this Meteor dev tools.
Meteor DevTools, I built this
Mm.
on top of the old one that we had. Like, there was one that was very slow. It was kind of freezing every time there was too many DDP messages, and it
Mm.
was bothering. Then I kind of cloned it and refactored it and rewrote the code and things like that.
Mm. And what did you use to build it?
I can open the repository. But,
Yes.
it would be cool. Leonardo. WebStorm. There you go. It uses Webpack, React, and Blueprint.js, I think. That's very simple. So it uses some styled components. It uses MobX for states. Uh, yeah, and it uses Webpack. The configs are here. So there is a base, and for each one there is a different entry point or output. So I need to implement new things to meet your DevTools evolved, but I didn't have time yet. But yeah.
That's
Oh,
fine.
it's me.
Oh, that's you.
Turtle logo. Yeah. So
And I was going to ask, when we you showed how to clone the repository and show basically what there is into the Meteor project. And once a person has this environment configured and ready to start contributing to whatever, where do we find things to work on?
we can go to GitHub, Meteor, GitHub/Meteor/Meteor, and there you have like issues, and you can search for a label called good first issue.
Oh, we do have that label. Cool.
So yeah, this is like they are simple, not too complicated, so you can start fixing. You just
Mm,
clone Meteor, try to reproduce it, probably run some tests, or it might be some documentation thing, very easy to do.
mm,
Document main function, for example, might be a candidate. So, anyways, there are all sorts of tags here, labels. There are
mm,
bounty, confirm, dependencies, etc. So if
mm,
you're a fan of a particular area or subject inside Meteor, you
mm,
just find through the label.
mm. And if you have any questions or don't know what you do exactly, the best place to ask is right there in the issues, right?
Well, if it's about this, probably Discord. You can go to
Mhm.
Discord lounge, Meteor Lounge,
Yeah.
and ask a question in help or something. Uh,
Or on, on the forums as
Help
well.
forums, yeah, help forum. And also there's the forums. You can forums.meteor.com, and you just ask a question, create new topic or whatever, or ask inside one for that same subject, uh,
Mm,
so you don't duplicate it. But yeah.
I see. And like, I think that we still have a few minutes to go, and I would like to ask you, maybe you can show us something. What are you guys from the open source team working on right now at this moment? What's happening?
So we are working hard on improving documentation, creating up-to-date tutorial for React, for example. We are going to adjust the domains and things like that. And also for the core itself, we are working on performance and trying to understand some edge cases that popped up after the release,
Mm,
and to make it more stable, more performant, and things like that. So we
mm,
have a few patches planned, and we want to get in a much better state as possible.
I see. So right now, oops, right now documentation is one of our main priorities.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think the thing with documentation is that sometimes we as developers tend to not give them the importance that they should have in our daily days of work, because sometimes we're very worried about writing the code and deploying the code and testing the code and improving the code, and the person that wants to actually use the code, use your project, it's like, okay,
yeah.
but where's the updated version of what you're doing? Like, I need to know, I need to see, I need to learn from you, teach me. Right?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes we're kind of like in a flow state coding, and we don't. It's not easy for us to kind of switch context and go to the docs, and it's normal. But we try to prioritize as much as we can. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's an important thing for it's. Well, the framework is like a product, right? So the main way that people kind of know about your product is through documentation for a framework in this
Yeah.
case.
Exactly. Oh, Jan is saying here that the v3 docs search and API reference is broken. Maybe we should write this down to see what's going on
Yeah,
there.
I'll take a note. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's it for today. We're going back next week, right, Lau?
Yeah, yeah.
What are you doing next week? Are we going to plan yet, or you do
I
have
have no
something?
idea. I have
You
no
have no
idea. We
idea?
can plan it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perhaps you guys can tell us what we can do.
Yeah, we're accepting suggestions. If you have any ideas of what specifically we could do, be it build something or go through the framework internals, we are happy to listen to you. We can just come here and chat, maybe. I don't know. I love chatting. We can talk about. I'm joking, but we can chat about something specific to media, of course. Like not something that we're not going to be here chatting about Battlestar Galactica or not Battlestar Galactica.
Stargate, Stargate.
Stargate.
Yeah.
It's all the same. It's not. I know. So yeah, I think that's it for today. Then we will see you next week. I wish you a great Monday and a great week.
Yeah. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.